All right, good morning everybody and welcome back to True Crime Loser. How you doing? That's good. So today we're going over the James Holmes's plan. I went from middle school up to where he started planning it yesterday, his worldview, which is a tad on the negative side. So check out that video yesterday if you just landed on this one first. But today, going over the plan, I think I've officially watched too much James Holmes. Yesterday, I was ordering a sandwich for lunch, and the guy was like, "You want mayo?" And I was like, "Yep. I mean, yes, please. Thank you." All right. So James Holmes, at this point, has moved to Colorado to go to grad school. He has good grades. He is has friends. He has a girlfriend. He is doing fun things with his friends. They went on a bar crawl on St. Patrick's Day. So he's not this just like loser, outcast, everybody's mean to him type that I think a lot of people picture when they picture these mass murderer, just like the guy that never gets laid and has his underwear pulled up over his head. James was not that. James had what he says is 5 good friends. And I was thinking, shit, do I even have 5 good friends? Is James beating me? What the hell? Are you kidding me? So he had 5 good friends, and he was dating this girl, and the relationship slowly got on the rocks. His theory was she wanted a little bit more communication, even though he did say that he did feel comfortable enough to communicate as well as he could around her. And so the relationship, grad school, pretty good friend group, this girl, and then him and this girl start to drift apart. She breaks up with him. He's sad and depressed. We've all felt that. And then they actually get back together, which is also pretty common for relationships. It takes a few times for the breakup to take. And then she wanted to be in a non-committed relationship, which usually works pretty good for one person and then leaves the other person in a sad pile of emotions, being like, no, yeah, it's cool. This is great for both of us. I am very happy. So they do like the non-committed thing for a little bit, and then James isn't happy with that and breaks up with her. And then I don't know, there's a theory of that losing her, maybe that was his one last, like he was thinking, all right, wife and kids, normal life. And then once that ended, then he just was like, yep, it's time. But I don't know, because he says that he went on a date with a girl after that, and they went on a hike, and she was great, and she was cute, and she wanted to hang out again and go on another one, but he said by that time he had dyed his hair red and was just way out there at that point. And just imagine showing up on a second date, get a little dinner or something, and it's just James with fire red hair being like, I got a plan. Yep. And so it's just really sad because he had a decent life going, really. He's doing well in grad school. He had some friends. He had a girl. He was dealing with his mental depression and mental illness, but a lot of people do. A lot of people are able to maybe not live totally successful, happy lives, but are able to get a life going. And it sort of seemed like that's what he had going. And then it just his worldview and theories just got bad. The whole like, okay, I'm depressed and I'm suicidal, and because of that, I am dedicating my life to killing as many innocent people as possible and making my worth go up because of his human capital theory. And I know that he's sick and that it's not as, but I would have, when he started to talk about the, like, yeah, I just like to, I wanted to just kill, and it doesn't matter if I kill people because it just puts them in a dreamless sleep. And I'm sitting there listening to him. It's hard not to have fantasies of, I just like, can the psychologist just stand up and smack him in the face with a hammer and just end it? Just, you know, they had talked about together, the psychiatrist and James, they had talked about Of Mice and Men, the Steinbeck novel, and James had said that he really connects with Lenny, the character. And if Lenny's this big, powerful, mentally ill character that ends up killing on accident all these animals, and then this woman that, and so his friend, Lenny's friend, tells him, like, hey, look over there, look at the rabbits. Lenny's obsessed with rabbits, and so Lenny's looking at him, and then George, Lenny's friend, shoots him in the back of the head before all of the townsfolk can get him because he accidentally killed this woman. And so I also was having, it also made me think, like, for James, because I know James is sick, but also James is just not a good person. Just he's got a bad brain. And I was picturing just the Lenny exit for him, because we just put him in solitary confinement because we have to. But like the guards bring him out. They were like, hey, James, we want to show you outside the trees. You've been a model inmate. We just wanted to, bring you outside and let you feel the fresh air and see the blue sky, and bring him out there. And then it's like, do you see the trees? Isn't that great? And he's sitting there. He's like, yep, I see him. And and then from behind, just end it. Just end it for everybody. But that's not our society. We're a little bit more civilized than that, and I'm okay with that. So let's just put him in the box forever. But anyway, what was I talking about? All right, so his plan, which was meticulously planned, was he wanted to kill as many people as possible in order to get his worth up. His ideas were biological attack, which he could probably pull off because he's a scientist. If anyone could pull it off, it's someone like James. But and he had another idea, but he landed on mass shooting into a theater. He didn't want to. His big thing is he didn't want to make it personal. So even if he made eye contact with someone and had a little moment, he wouldn't want to kill that person. Or there were people in the theater running away, and so just seeing one single person running away and seeing their back made it too personal. All he wanted was formless figures. So that really played into the just whole, full stadium theater, and just blindly just shoot into the theater. And he's also was a terrible shot because he's only had went and practiced with his guns 5 times, and it's way harder to shoot guns than it looks like in the movies. And so he thought that he would be way better, but after practicing 5 times, he was like, all right, I'm terrible. And so the plan was he's going to tint his windows very darkly in his car so that he'd have all the gear and stuff in his car. He would park by the exit in the theater. There's usually a couple doors down in the front of the theater. And so he would park by those doors, go into the theater. He had a ticket, get in. He would go check out the theater, and he said that he walked in and he looked up at the theater, and it was just filled with people watching the movie. And it's like moments like that just make the hair on the back of my neck go up, and it just makes me, like I said, I just want he's sitting there being like, yeah, and I looked up and it was all full. And it's like, okay, hit him with a hammer. Sorry. I know, it's sad, but God, it's hard to listen to him talk about just with his sort of like, I'm smart. He's kind of got that smugness of someone that has probably a pretty high IQ where he's like, yeah, and it didn't matter what they were happening in their life because now they're in a dreamless sleep. And the psychiatrist is like, well, didn't the mission matter to you in your life? Wouldn't you have been mad if you really had that goal? So what about someone else's goal that you killed? And he's just like, oh, I didn't think of that, or I didn't ask myself that question. And so the logic obviously does not hold. And the psychiatrist is kind of poking that, just being like, well, you say it really doesn't matter what anyone does in life because you're going to die anyway, yet that this mission mattered a great deal to you. And James is just like, yeah, I guess I didn't think of that. It's like, bring in the hammer. Um, yeah, and so he orders the body armor online. He orders the gas mask, tear gas canisters. He orders a bunch of fireworks and stuff. So he rigs that up in his apartment with gasoline and napalm. And so the plan is he's going to leave his apartment and he presses play on his computer in his apartment. And there's a CD in that has 15 minutes of silence, and then it just really loud music after that 15 minutes. So the goal is he's going to hit that, head to the theater. In 15 minutes, there's going to be this loud music all of a sudden in his apartment. And then his neighbors, and he gave this a low chance of all working, but his neighbors then calls the cops. Cops come to his apartment, which diverts police away from the theater. They come to his apartment to investigate this noise complaint. He left his door unlocked, so maybe they go into his apartment. There's like a tripwire that is going to light all these fuses of fireworks and stuff, which is going to light napalm. So hopefully the cops come in to check out this noise complaint and the apartment starts on fire or something. And so then the plan is for him to head to the theater, dark window tinting, park by that door, go into the theater, check out the people in the theater, and then go out, put on all the body armor, put on the gas mask, get all the guns and magazines together, and then as he left that door, usually those doors down, or you can just go out of, you can't go back in. So on the outside, there's no handle or anything. So he had planned for that and had bought in like one of those clips that go on a picnic table when you want to hold a tablecloth on a picnic table. And so as he went into the theater, saw all those innocent people just trying to have fun and watch a movie. And so as he left the door, he put that thing on the door. So as it closed, it basically closed all the way, but that plastic thing stopped it. And then he'd go out to his car, put on all the gear, get all the stuff, and then go back into the theater. And like I said, planning this, I think, was probably more even important in the long run than even doing it, because all of a sudden he felt like he had a purpose and a plan, and he would wake up in the morning and, Google stuff online and then go to the theater and do reconnaissance and then think about, that he's going to be remembered as this super villain and that he's scary and that, he dyed his hair red and he put these all black contacts in his eyes, and he's, taking all these like stupid pictures trying to look all scary and stuff. And a very interesting thing during this whole time of planning is that there was almost like two Jameses. There was one that didn't want it to happen, and then one that was, or another part of him that it had to happen to save his life. And so during this time, he actually went to a psychiatrist and told the psychiatrist all about it, or not, maybe not totally about the plan, but that he was having all these very strong homicidal thoughts. And and he wrote this notebook at the time that eventually he sent to the psychiatrist and that he sent to the New York Times, and with all of his theories, which also very interestingly, he diagnosed himself a bunch in this notebook. So, all of his stupid theories about human capital, all that stuff's in there, but also he figured that if he was shot and killed doing this, that this would be information about himself that he could be remembered. And so, he's in there like, I think I have schizophrenia. I think I have delusions of grandeur. I think. And so it's like, are they really delusions if you know you have delusions of grandeur? I guess that's the nightmare with these mental illnesses, is I guess you sort of know that you have it. But he's sitting there saying, delusions of grandeur and all this stuff, which he does. He thinks he's this huge supervillain that is making his worth more and capital and all this nonsense. And he's just a sick dude with painted hair. And that's really about it. Just a sad, sick dude in his apartment. And I'm filming this one a little later than I normally film today, and the sun makes it brighter in here. It looks a little bit better than the dark hole I usually film in. But anyway, so he even tells this psychiatrist that he's having these thoughts, and I think because of this case, they're trying to mend the patient privacy, patient doctor, psychiatrist privacy rule to be like, all right, you get privacy to a certain extent, but if someone is starting to talk about just like, yeah, have I told you my human capital theory? It's like, okay, tell his parents, tell the cops, we got to do something. It's not fair to the people living their lives that have hopes and goals and dreams that just want to go to a little movie, and it's not fair to them to fall at the hands of this just nut job being like, and then my worth will go up. And so that makes sense to me, that at a certain point, a psychiatrist can hit up somebody. I don't think the person should be able to be like arrested and tried just for telling a psychiatrist for something, but maybe they could have intervened. I don't know. The sun is out. Finally, it's been raining for 3 days in New York City, and I think this is the first sun I've seen, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. All right, so I'm trying to think anything left in the plan. Let me just take a look. Some people get real mad when I take a break and look at the notebook, but you're just going to have to get over it. Sorry. Oh, yeah, so he even got on meds with the psychiatrist, and said he felt better, and he was hoping that it wouldn't happen, and then whatever part of him wanted to do the mission or thought that it was very important overruled that part, so he let the psychiatrist know, hey, this is my last appointment or whatever. And he also thought the FBI knew that whole time and that we're going to stop him at some point, and a part of him was hoping that they would stop him. Oh yeah, I see a lot of people saying like, James Holmes is MK Ultra government. What is that theory? Sounds pretty conspiracy theory-esque in my opinion, but what is the theory? That the government did a bunch of tests on him and made him do it for something? All I see is just he's MK Ultra. And then, so if someone really thinks that, put in the comments like the full theory on what it is, and I'll at least look into it with a half open mind. What are you doing, T? T's up, everybody. Come here. Come here. We haven't seen her in a while. Ladies and gentlemen, the T. She's the best. All right. Kind of went off the rails at the end. That's okay. Trying to think. Human capital, total nut job. All right, yep, that's about it. And so tomorrow I'm going to go over how the plan worked out, what happened, him being arrested, final thoughts on the 20 million hours of interview that I watched, and we'll keep moving. All right, nice and sunny in here. True Crime Loser out. Why? Stiving why? Oh yeah, thanks for everybody that supports this channel, especially on Patreon. I really appreciate it. There is a link in the description if you want to help out. But anyway, have a good day.